Hi everyone, this is Eva. I am the owner and co-founder of Blooming Beats Kitchen, and today I have Mary Kay Irving with me. Oh my god, we just hit each other. Great start. So, first of all, this is our second Facebook Live, and what I started doing, and I shared with you a couple weeks ago, kind of the intention and what I want to bring forward at Blooming Beats, bringing the community together and bringing in experts from different fields. And these are, by the way, people, I think I mentioned it last time, these are people who are not just experts, but they get fully booked in their offices, and this is your opportunity to ask them questions and for them to share their wisdom about different topics around paleo or keto or Whole30 or AIP or all the topics you're really excited about. So Mary Kay Irving has been a friend of mine for, I don't know, a few years.
5 or 6 years.
Yeah. Wow.
It was 2012 when the Paleo Potluck.
That's right. So she's the leader of the Paleo Potluck in town, and she also has a practice. You want to talk about that for a little bit? Who you are, your background?
Sure. I'm Mary Kay Irving. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, experienced with trauma therapy and addiction recovery, and then about 6 years ago, I started studying nutrition and that impact of nutrition on mental health and moods because of some of my own personal experiences and health challenges, and was kind of blown away. And so I've just been ravenously reading and researching and experimenting with my own nutrition in the paleo ancestral field, and most recently with the ketogenic diet.
So that's what this life is about. We have to come closer. There we go. Last time we had the phone like that, and then we get messages. You guys are sideways. Okay, never mind. Go backwards. So this live today is about keto. So let's give people a little bit of background what keto is, how it works.
So yes, I'll just give you a little background. The ketogenic diet, also known as keto, is basically a style of eating. I like to think of it as a lifestyle rather than a nutritional diet where people think of restricting calories in certain foods. It's a way of eating and a lifestyle. And so basically ketosis is a metabolic state in our body where we're actually burning ketones. We burn our own fat for fuel as energy rather than glucose, which is what the standard American diet is high carbohydrates, high grains, because that's what's been recommended by the government for many years. They've recommended eating lots and lots of grains, carbohydrates, and low fat. And for as long as they've been telling us to do that, we've had more and more health problems. And so, miraculously, Mother Nature seems to be prevailing in terms of people who are eating ancestral diets, paleo, primal, and ketogenic, are having reversals of serious illnesses, experiencing all kinds of energy, boosts in immunity, decreased inflammation, all kinds of benefits. So specifically, the ketogenic diet, rather than high carb, is very low carb, very high fat, and moderate amounts of protein. So it's very different from what people have been taught. So it seems kind of extreme to a lot of people, and for some people it seems very restrictive. But if you're coming from eating a paleo or primal type of ancestral diet, it's really just mixing up you just change the ratios of the macronutrients. So it's fairly simple shift. So myself, back in 2000, I was first suggested to go gluten-free. So I've been doing that for close to 20 years.
Wow.
And then 6 years ago changed to paleo, and then I experimented on and off with keto, and then really been into it for the last year. So learning a lot about it. I don't consider myself an expert in that field, but definitely in paleo and ancestral eating and mental health and other areas I feel highly qualified, and I'm excited to be offering this to people in our community. I'm really excited that your restaurant, Eva, is offering paleo, ancestral, healthy foods to people. Like, we're able to come out and eat and have fun and take a day off of cooking and, and get some really delicious food here that's healthy, and I don't have to worry about asking questions or bothering the waitress about is this here or that there. Although when I do ask questions here, people are knowledgeable and know, so that's awesome experience.
do you mind if I share my keto story?
No, absolutely.
Let's both be on this. Okay, we both have to pin a picture. So what happened with me, and I shared with it some of you guys, and I sent out, I have a blog post about this, how I got into the paleo and like almost immediate keto. It was in 2012, and I was training for Leadville 100. Have you heard of that? Crazy race. You run 100 miles, and I was training, and it was this weird thing. I was the fittest and the least healthy person I've ever been. What I was doing, I was doing what runners do, like living on goo, which is like the packets of, basically sugar, and you eat it when you run, and very, very high carb diet. And I was overtraining, and I didn't finish, I didn't make it, anyway, multitude of reasons. Actually, it was 2010, I got the dates confused. So I didn't make it. Now, 2 years later, I went to, and I lived in Austin, Texas. I went to, I think it's called CrossFit Central, and I was like, I'm gonna do some cross training, go to this lecture of nutrition, right? And it was like part of the introduction to the CrossFit community. You have to do lecture nutrition. And then the guy starts selling us how we should be eating bacon, but we shouldn't be eating so much like sweet fruits, and we should definitely not be eating any whole grains. And I remember the whole time I'm just like arguing with the guy, and I'm like, you gotta be crazy. Like, you gotta be like kidding me. Like, you're telling me I should be eating bacon but not be eating whole grains? And I went home and I researched it. And I was like, this really seems interesting. And so I took it on, and I was registered for my second attempt. It was my third attempt. I had 2 failed attempts at a 100-mile race. And I was basically kind of like, every time I would be in this race, just something would, my body would just stop working. Something would go wrong and I couldn't finish. And this time I was really committed to making it to the finish line. So, I decided to go keto paleo, very low carb paleo. And I finished. For the first time, I finished the race being on ketogenic paleo. And it was this interesting thing, because when you're running a 100-mile race, which is just really insane, but you cannot be digesting food. You cannot be replenishing your glycogen, because at some point your stomach just cannot stomach anything. You just are you're sick or nauseous or throwing up or whatever's going on. And it was because of me being so keto fat adapted. I was running slow enough that the body could kind of keep up. I kept my energy up the whole 35 hours and 12 minutes I was running. I was like, holy smokes, this is real, and it works. And I noticed just my energy levels being like, not just in the race, but in general, being very, very steady. And I wouldn't go through the crushes up and down, and my brain was working pretty well. And the same thing happened when I opened this restaurant. I don't know if you remember this, but it was like 18-hour work days and go every day. I would have never made it without paleo. I would have never made it. I would have gotten sick, and I never got sick during the time period. So that's just my kind of story. I'm curious, like, how did you get into keto?
Well, again, started with paleo in a background of some serious health issues. I'm a breast cancer survivor of 12 years now.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
But it's been 10 years, 12 years. That's
12
amazing.
Years. Yeah.
Wow.
So I started getting more interested in health. I'd always been interested in health as an athlete, as a younger person growing up, into sports. In those days, it was recommended that you carb load, like you eat a big pasta dinner before a game the next day or something.
Exactly.
So I had gone gluten-free, but then in 2006 was diagnosed with cancer.
Wow.
And started looking into health issues. Also had a history of depression and mood swings up and down.
Yeah.
Right. In 2011, there was kind of a perfect storm of events. I was feeling like I always loved sugar, too much sugar, like sugar addiction, really, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And was kind of making a joke about that on Facebook, and somebody who knew I was a cancer survivor sent me a private message and said, you really shouldn't be eating sugar as a cancer survivor. So that at the same time, a friend of mine who joined CrossFit and was noticing extreme changes, and he sent me a book by Gary Taubes, or recommended Gary Taubes' book, Why We Get Fat.
Oh, really?
And I read that book. I had to read it and reread it because it was saying things so opposite of what we've been taught about this low-fat, calories in, calories out misinformation that we've been given. So, but it convinced me. He's a very serious and highly educated and informed research journalist. And so I totally believed, once he presented all the information, what he had to say, and I went upstairs and cleaned out all of my cupboards and just started eating paleo immediately. It was easier probably than most people because I was already gluten-free. But I thought there's no way I'm going to be able to eat this way because I was hypoglycemic, which basically means I had prediabetes, pretty much. So blood sugar dysregulation, where you have to eat every few hours, or you're hangry, irritable, or low energy.
And this was in 2012?
This was 2011.
You were wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got test results back. I had been avoiding opening my 9 News Health Fair test results because I knew I wasn't able to eat as much sugar. Like, everything was off balance. I was getting neuropathy in my fingers, some blurry vision, some weird stuff was happening, and I know enough about diabetes to think like, ooh, something's not right here. When I did open up those 9 News Health results, I had 4 markers of prediabetes. I had high inflammation, high C-reactive protein, high A1C. And that's what spurred me to read this book and to change my diet. And within 2 to 3 weeks, oh my God, my moods were stable, my energy, all the things you're talking about, brain fog. Ultimately, my skin cleared up and I ended up losing weight. I wasn't even trying to lose weight. I didn't change anything about my exercise, physical routine, but lost close to 25 pounds over the next several months. So it blew me away, and the stable moods and lack of depression, I was kind of floored being a therapist that, oh my God, like, are you kidding? I put all this money into therapy and antidepressants at various times, and all I needed to do was change my diet, right?
Right. Wow.
So, not that simple. As a therapist, there's lots of ways that therapy absolutely helps, and just nutrition alone doesn't change certain situations like trauma. But
it makes me think we should do a Facebook Live on the mental side of things too sometimes.
Absolutely.
But anyway, oh my goodness. Thank you so much for sharing. So I am really curious, like, when we really want to talk specifically about keto, we all know that there's some transition time where you go through the sugar withdrawal and all some. So I'm curious because
keto flu.
The keto. Okay, so can you talk a little bit about, like, how do we manage that? I know there's some, like, controversy. Women should go easier, whatever, hormones. I don't really know.
Yeah. You know what? It's like with any way of eating, everybody's different. And I think ketogenic eating is so natural that it's going to work for a lot of people, if not most people. There are certain few conditions, genetic conditions, and where somebody just won't be able to do a ketogenic diet. And if you have this kind of rare genetic condition, you would already know it. So talk to your doctor if you have some condition that you know about. But even diabetics can respond positively. You would need to be consulting with your doctor and doing it properly.
Oh, really?
But all kinds of people can benefit from it. So, what was your question? Keto flu?
Keto flu. Is there
transitioning?
Transitioning.
So, tips to transitioning. I do, if you're eating a standard American diet, definitely recommend doing a slower, gradual transition down to maybe gluten-free, then grain-free, and the whole time switching and adding in healthy fats. Because for some people, they're going to have to clear out their whole refrigerator and cupboard of the bad oil, the sunflower oil, canola oil, and all of those things. So, but if you're already paleo or something like that, you're just going to mix it up to even add in more of the good fats. You have to add a lot of fat. This is like a 75, sometimes 80% fat diet.
But we're talking so this is where I always got confused. If we're talking calories from fat, not like fat on a plate. right? It shouldn't be like 75% oil and 25% lettuce.
Right.
We're
We're talking about
calories.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Percentage of your diet. Right. So
Right.
volume wise, your plate is still going to be like mostly 2/3 to 3/4 vegetables.
Right.
And a tiny sliver of meat.
Because people have this
Green boxes.
idea it's going to be like all grease, and it's not that, right?
Right.
And that's not true
No,
at
but
all.
you get to add back in the foods that we've thought weren't good. You get to add back in butter, delicious butter and bacon, and be liberal with the olive oil that you put on your salads and any vegetable I have. I even put a slab of butter on my scrambled eggs now. It's delicious.
Nice. Unless you're sensitive to dairy, then.
Right. If dairy sensitive, you might want to try ghee.
Yeah.
Which where all of the milk proteins and the fats are burned off.
So gradual transition.
Gradual transition, and if you're making the jump to just 5% carbs, so less than between 20 to 50 grams total of carbs.
Okay, that's what puts you into ketosis, 20 to 50.
Yeah,
Okay.
20 to 50 grams, but not unless you're adding the fat too, because you have to have the high fat. So that's one of the big mistakes people make is they go too low carb, but they don't increase the fats.
Okay, right. And they do a bunch of protein, which...
Or too high protein, right?
Right.
People think, there's misinformation. People think that paleo or keto means that you have to eat a lot of protein, and that's not the
eat a
case.
whole chicken every day or something.
Right.
Okay.
No.
So
It's even actually less protein on a ketogenic diet than a paleo diet.
So how is that? Will like a bunch of chicken kick you out of ketosis? Does that convert to it does.
The body can convert it. It's not
Right.
necessarily going to happen. You want to become keto adapted. That's something you were saying. Nutritional ketosis or metabolic flexibility, meaning your body can move between the two states of being a sugar burner if it needs to be, or a fat burner, like a hybrid car. You can use gas or electricity. So
Okay.
metabolic flexibility. Ketosis is a natural state. It's not to be afraid of, and it's not to be confused with ketoacidosis. Which
That's
is a
important to-
dangerous health condition.
Yeah.
That's a very rare condition, primarily in usually type 1 diabetics, sometimes type 2 diabetics.
Yeah.
And that's why you need to work with your doctors. But I know a good friend of mine who is 10 years in ketosis, and he's type 1 diabetes. So
Yeah.
it's absolutely doable.
I don't hear that anymore, but I used to hear people get freaked out. Keto,
Keto,
what?
yeah,
That's
right.
really dangerous.
That's
And I'm like,
dangerous.
no, you're getting ketoacidosis
Yeah.
confused with ketosis.
Some people still confuse it. But
Yeah.
we naturally go into ketosis, the state of burning ketones, those
Yeah.
fat breakdowns, when we sleep at night, in the morning when we wake up, because we haven't been eating for however many hours we've been sleeping. So your body
Right.
goes into ketosis when we wake up in the morning.
Does that happen?
But that
even-
doesn't mean you're a fat burner yet. It just means your body did that overnight.
Does it happen to be people who are not adapted at all, too?
Yeah, it
Oh,
should.
really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And when we're sick, if you have the flu and you're in bed for 3 days and you're not eating at all,
Good.
your body, your body starts burning fuel. So
Yeah.
you lose a few pounds being sick.
There was something like when I went paleo and keto, because I went very, very low carb, high fat paleo from the get-go. So, but my adaptation was a living hell. There's no way to it was like partially because in the same time period I moved to Boulder, so I was dealing with high altitude and so I'm training for this 100-mile race, right? And
Stress.
and I'm like used to running literally 20, 30, 40, 50 miles every weekend, and I go keto. I go keto, and now I guess it's you and talking. I go keto, and I literally could not run a mile. I'm not kidding. I'd like go and car, all those trails. Like I could not even hike. I was so slow. I was so dragging, and it was at a point where I was like, I cannot do this race. There's no way. And sometimes it takes people, I hear it takes them, some people weeks, some people 2 weeks. It took me 5 weeks.
To get into ketosis.
Yeah, to get into ketosis
and was feeling good.
and my body to get that energy back. And once I got it back, I was fine. But I think people just need to be aware that this process is going to take some time.
And it's different for everyone. Somebody can go in really quickly and not have any issues, but we have a lot of health issues in our culture. There's just a lot of sick people, whether it's autoimmune, gut dysbiosis, live stressful, fast-paced, overworked lives. And all of those situations can make moving into ketosis more challenging and more difficult.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't recommend attempting to become a fat burner, attempting to move into ketosis when you're under a lot of stress, just started a new job, or there's a lot of interpersonal strife in your life. Like moving or opening a restaurant is a highly stressful time. Right? And training, athletic training, overtraining can be a problem if you're in the middle of the transition. You want it to be a relaxed time. If you're having sleep problems,
definitely was
he was like, "What's relaxed? What's relaxed?"
Training for a 100-mile run definitely was not time to relax. That's
if you have gut dysbiosis, like if you have SIBO or something like that, it's there's going to be challenges for a lot of people.
Right.
And the interesting piece is if once you get into ketosis, and your body becomes adapted, ketones are very healing. So a lot of those same conditions that make it difficult to transition actually can be healed, and their support can be healed. The healing can be supported by the ketones themselves. So I get questions all the time of, can you do it? Thyroid conditions.
Wow.
Is it safe for kids? It's a very natural process. So I just talked about how we go into it when we're sleeping, we go into it when we're sick, and we're actually born as infants. Breastfeeding is the high fat ratio. So
Susie
it's very natural
Diamond
for kids.
says, Mary Kay, you look fabulous. Yay!
Thank you. So it's safe for kids. That's a common question that I get as well. It's not a restrictive diet. It's just different, and we think it's restrictive because we've been taught something so different. But if you look back just a couple generations to our grandparents or great-grandparents, or I was, a little girl, we were still eating out of the family garden, and my mom was home cooking, and we used real butter, and it's kind of, if you talk to your grandparents eating off the farm, it was just not an issue to be eating fat. So we just need to go back to eating real whole foods and just switch up our ratios. And making that transition, as you were talking about, like headaches, all kinds of some weakness, lots of heart palpitations, different scary things can happen for people. And oftentimes that's because of an electrolyte imbalance. When we release the glycogen stores, glycogen is the storage form of glucose in our body.
Right.
And when we go keto and we stop eating so many carbs, your body uses up that glycogen, and it's stored together with electrolytes, with sodium, potassium, magnesium, get released along with all the water we've been holding. That gets released. So oftentimes there'll be a lot of urination in the first 24 hours or so after you move into actual ketosis for the first time.
Very cool.
You have to be replenishing with salts and electrolytes and magnesiums, and there's some mixes that you can buy. I just eat extra salt. Yeah, like Electromix is one of them.
Oh, okay, Electromix.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you can post some links underneath the chat that we're done.
Sure.
I'm thinking of a question. How having a glass of wine or beer, gluten-free beer, I mean, of course.
Of course.
How will that affect, will that kick you out immediately? And how long do you think it would take to get back?
You know what? It really depends. It's individual for everybody. And some people can do a glass of wine, and some people might decide to save up their carbs. They know they're going to have a special occasion, an anniversary or something, and they want to celebrate that night. But people have to get used to their own body, and it depends how much damage has been done to their body. Do they have insulin resistance in general? Are they trying to heal some things in their body? People might get thrown out pretty quickly, and some people might not be impacted at all. Some people can eat more than the 50 grams of carbs a day. And people who are really athletic, running 100 miles, you might be able to handle way more carbs than 50 grams.
Used to be, okay? That was 6 years ago. Okay. No more 100 miles for me. But, okay, I thought about another question. I forgot what it was. Damn it. It was a really good question, but I forgot what it was.
It'll come. You can post it in the comments later.
Yeah. There was something. Anyway.
So we were talking about kids, ketosis, keto flu, transitioning, Electromix, drinking alcohol.
Yeah, we're talking about drinking alcohol.
Yeah. So
I know a question. So sorry. So desserts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to I'm playing with my team. We're trying to come up with a dessert, and that is paleo. So we're paleo, keto paleo. So we're okay. So we could use stevia or erythritol. Hate that name. Hate that word. So impossible to pronounce. But then I guess I'm curious about, because it's sweet anyway. It doesn't have the sugar, but it's sweet anyway, right?
What is sweet?
Like
anyway?
stevia or erythritol,
Right.
some of those like 0-calorie sweeteners. So does that really keep you in ketosis?
Yeah, I'm not 100% up on the research on that, but I've heard different things about it. For some people, it can trigger cravings for more sweets.
Right. And then you have the leptin reaction and all that, right?
Right. So there can be different hormonal reactions, and
Yeah.
some people it might raise insulin and blood glucose levels temporarily.
Because it's not just about the sugar; it's about the taste,
right?
Too, and it sends
But
signals.
if somebody's coming to your restaurant and they're specifically asking for keto and wanting keto foods, they've probably been doing it or experimenting with it, and people will know what works for them and what doesn't work for them.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I have a Keto Mojo. I have like a test to tell when I'm in ketosis or not.
Oh, really? What's the test?
Keto Mojo is a blood test. So when people are first going keto, they often test their urine by a urine stick. But that doesn't work past the first few weeks.
Oh, really?
When you're urinating out the ketones because your body hasn't learned to use them yet. And then it stops. Then your body starts actually using the ketones. And then somebody tests with a urine stick and they think, oh, I'm not in ketosis. But they are in ketosis. They're just not peeing it out anymore. That's why you have to test the blood level. So your blood level is, if it's between 0.5 and 3.0 millimoles per deciliter, or millimoles per liter of blood.
Okay,
0.5. So I was just on a retreat up in the mountains, and I came back, and it was a vegetarian retreat. So I knew ahead of time.
Oh, the meditation retreat.
Yeah. So I had to bring all of the food they supplied. So, and I'm paleo, so I don't do vegetarian. They have high beans, lots of greens typically.
Right.
So I was able to eat the breakfast. They had eggs, but I brought my own bottle of extra virgin olive oil. I brought macadamia nuts, which are 100% fat.
Oh, they are. That's right.
It's like pure fat. Macadamia nuts. And so I brought my own foods to try to make sure I was staying in ketosis, and cans of salmon, to eat for my protein source. And so I was a little worried that I wasn't going to be in ketosis when I got back. Yeah. But I was like, okay with that. I'm there relaxing, and we live in this world. We have to do what we can. So I ate a little bit of oatmeal a couple of days there with some extra fruit on it and something else. I ate even the black beans one night.
Yeah.
And I got home and I tested with my ketone, and I was at 0.6, so I was still in ketosis.
So you said, up until what level you were still in ketosis again?
So above 0.5. So between 0.5 to 3.0.
Oh, so it measures your ketone levels.
Measures how many ketones. So I was still in, and so you're in ketosis. You're considered to be in ketosis.
Okay, so would you just say again and we're going to post in a link, like if they want to get this blood test thing, what is it called?
The Keto Mojo. There's different kinds.
Okay.
I use the Keto Mojo. I like it. You can just Google it or just put it in your Facebook search bar. But the Keto Mojo, I think you can, usually they have, I don't know if they sell it on Amazon.
Do you have to stab your finger?
Keto Mojo, they often have great deals. It's $100. Okay. And that includes like 50 strips. So you can test both your ketones and your glucose numbers for people who have blood glucose issues. Wow. Yes, it's an automatic machine. It's just a little tiny prick.
Oh, it's
like
just a 2
seconds,
one?
Little tiny prick. You barely feel it. You do feel something, but it's gone.
You don't have I still have like a hole in my finger when they did my blood testing when I was like 10. So hopefully it's not one of those.
It's pretty easy test to do, and that's when you know that you're actually. And then there's higher levels. If you're above, like people can go up higher, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's what they use for therapeutic levels if somebody's undergoing cancer treatment, for example.
Okay, so I wanted to.
It's a huge topic, and we can't address all of this stuff.
Yeah, we can't. But I did want to ask you a little bit about that. So I went to a panel during the Ancestral Health Symposium a few years ago, and there was a panel of 4 oncologists. Actually, it was like 3 oncologists and somebody else who was dealing with cancer, and they were talking about how they're using ketogenic diet to help with cancer treatment, which I think is really interesting. Yeah,
it's fascinating. It helps in a lot of ways. So It increases apoptosis, which is natural cell death of unhealthy cells, and cancer cells don't tend to die, they just kind of proliferate. In multiple studies, tumors have been shown to shrink in size. It's actually also helping, and fasting before going into a chemo treatment episode
I heard that too.
can actually prevent or eliminate so many of the distressing, upsetting symptoms and sickness, and just really. So there's lots of ways that it's helping cancer. Certain types of cancers, mainly tumor-based cancers, it's not been shown to be helpful with certain cancers like blood-based cancers and things. We don't really know if it's.
So there's different types of cancer cells, and some. So what is the? And I spaced out for a second. What is the mechanics of it? How does it? Is it because I've heard
the mechanics of what? Of what?
So I've heard. Okay, so I've heard, and please tell me if I'm wrong, okay? Because it's just I heard rumors. So from what I remember, right? Regular cells are can live on glycogen or can live on ketones. Mm-hmm. Now, certain
the
kind of
Warburg
cancer
effect.
cells,
Yes, it's
they can't survive without sugar.
Right. So yeah, many cancer cells, especially tumor-based cancer cells, they actually thrive on sugar. And
right.
So it's like when you're getting an MR or CAT scan, they put sugar in. That's what lights up the brain because they're feeding on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have ketones, if you're not eating sugar, if you've reduced it down to 5 grams of carbs,
then the cancer
or
cell
5% of your carbs. Yeah.
And it's like goodbye.
So
cancer
they have nothing to feed on, and then the ketones are also producing other healthful effects like lowering inflammation and rebalancing your body from some of the conditions that maybe contributed to the development of cancer in the first place.
I mean, that is the most exciting thing. But I want to be careful not to say like, oh, don't do chemo, just do keto.
No. These studies are doing in conjunction with regular chemotherapy.
Right.
Yeah. So far, yeah.
So
That's what's being done here. I mean, there's other places, other countries that are doing other things for cancer. But yeah, what the studies that I'm referring to are showing how it minimizes the effects of the chemotherapy, the dangerous effects, because chemo not only targets and kills the cancer cells, it kills all of your other cells. Like, that's why I lost all my hair when I went through cancer treatment.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't want to kill our good healthy cells.
Yeah.
And make people more sick and more vulnerable to illness or even death from cancer treatment. So so we're supporting and feeding and nourishing our healthy cells to stay strong at the same time starving and killing those cancer cells. So lots of promise and hope with this. And it's not a cure-all for everything either, but there's some cool things about it.
Right. And I was just thinking, like, tying it to the ancestral health, the paleo people, right? Like, they had periods of months where just be living on berries, and then they were just eating, like, meat and fat from...
Right. I kind of lean towards, for myself, like a cyclic ketogenic diet.
Okay.
So summertime, I think, is a great time for someone to transition from the standard American diet to a paleo diet. Not necessarily keto yet, because summertime is when fruits were abundant. So that's when you're picking out on the berry bushes.
Right.
So that's then your bodies are like, and the hunting is abundant because all the animals are flourishing as well. And so you're building those fat stores, and then fall and winter comes, and then there's not, you don't have the berries anymore, and maybe the animals are in hibernation or they're just not there, and so their bodies were fed, they were fueled by the fat in their own bodies. So that's a natural time to do kind of seasonal ketosis.
Maybe some intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting in the meantime to help detox and reboost the immune system, repair the gut lining. Right. So many amazing things that these ketones do. If somebody struggles with anxiety or depression issues, it helps with produce GABA, which is a calming.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's people take GABA amino acids to help with anxiety, and eating ketones actually naturally boost GABA. So
that is interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. I don't know if there's a question or hello or.
Yeah. That is so exciting. So I guess that answers the question kind of should somebody be on ketosis all the time? Because there's this that question is always asked.
Yeah. Right. So as I was saying, we just don't, in some ways we don't know enough.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned, I know, so there are people that do this for medical reasons like epilepsy.
For years and years and years.
They
don't even ever get
ongoing.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
I know a person who has type 1 diabetes, and he's been keto for 10 years.
Right.
Straight.
Yeah.
So it's not been an issue. Now some people will say, or science has shown for some people maybe that the gut microbiome becomes diminished, so the eat less of certain good bacteria. And that may be because people are confusing eating low carbs with decreasing the amount of vegetables they should be eating. And actually, I promote a highly nutrient dense, lots of vegetables ketogenic diet, and just lather those vegetables with extra fat.
Right.
So you need to still feed the good bacteria. Mm-hmm. And so that's mainly the thing that I've seen about long-term concerns with it.
Yeah.
But the reality is, again, thinking back to our Paleolithic ancestors, they didn't have Pop-Tarts on the shelf. They didn't have a cupboard or a refrigerator. They had to go out and hunt. And some days there just was no food available to hunt. And so they were probably in ketosis fairly regularly.
Yeah.
Fairly regular thing.
We talk about the paleo ancestors, right? And this is, a lot of people will tell me, but they only lived 30 years. And I'm like, well, true, on average, because most of their babies died at birth or whatnot.
Right,
and then, you get chased out by a tiger or something, you die. You break your leg, you die.
Right. They didn't have an ambulance who could come and save you. And they, they didn't have shelter from storms or whatever the way that we do today. So it's really, and they didn't have antibiotics. So even though antibiotics have caused a lot of problems on some level to our microbiome, and it actually has been very beneficial for lots of reasons. And those Paleolithic ancestors, if they didn't die from a tiger or some bacterial disease or something where there were no antibiotics for it, they actually lived quite lengthy, fully healthy lives. So you could have somebody in their late 70s, and they were still active, digging up from the garden or whatever. They weren't sick in bed with diabetes or the way we are today.
Yeah. No osteoporosis, nothing like that.
Right.
It's fascinating. It's really interesting.
It is a fascinating topic, and it's a huge topic.
It's such a huge topic.
And there's more information coming out constantly, and maybe we learn something completely new tomorrow. So, and that's one of the reasons I don't think of myself as an expert, because there's just so much new. One of the things I really appreciated from my oncologist when I was getting treatment, they said, if you see a new study or research or something, bring it in and show us, because there's so much going on there. You can't keep up with it all. And there's no way any nutritionist or doctor, healer can keep up with all of it. So it's tomorrow we might find a new research that comes out that says, oh, you got to tweak it even more this way. And so we have to change our minds. And that's something I've appreciated about the paleo movement and some of the experts and gurus like Chris Kresser. Like, we're constantly staying up on things, and they change and evolve. So paleo was the big thing. Few people say, naysayers say that, fad, it's the fad. It's the next fad. Keto's the next fad. It's just taken over paleo that was a fad. Well, both paleo and keto have been around for since the beginning of time, so it's the longest fads ever. So we just might learn more specifics about it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what else do we want to talk about? I think we covered.
I think that's a lot.
Yeah, I think that is a lot. I've been thinking about lately, right? Because I was like, our menu is not terribly keto as it is right now, because I love sweet stuff. I love flavor variety. I gotta be straight and honest about that. And so we have been experimenting and adding and figuring out how we can add more keto-friendly items to the menu, because I was very confronted about this, my own integrity of this, right? it's like, I love those Brussels sprouts. I love them, I love them, I love them, but they have apple cider reduction on them, and it's definitely,
Right, but you can tweak it, and you can. So still come to your restaurant, and I make it keto myself.
Okay.
Because I know.
So how do I make it keto? I want to know.
And you can, and so keto is much more similar to paleo than even AIP is. So I think you can just tweak your regular paleo meal a little bit to make it keto, and then have others separate. Because paleo, so it's just the ratios, the proportions of the macronutrient levels.
Okay, so I will add a little bit of fat, add some avocado.
Add fat, give a little side cup of extra virgin olive oil, add a slab or two of butter on the side.
Right.
Then you can make anything keto. And the other way I make it keto is I just ask, no sauce on it, no
maple syrup.
I don't want the shit. No, I get if I get one of those waffles, I say no maple syrup. So I kind of create on my own.
And the waffle keeps you in ketosis?
Well, so I don't always order the waffle because there's sugar in your. It's cashew, isn't it? So cashews are higher.
It's cashews, but there's like a tiny bit of, we don't put that much, but there's a tiny bit of maple syrup in the batter
actual batter.
So
yeah.
So it's not a whole lot per waffle. It'd be like a tiny amount, but there's some.
So again, it's going to depend on somebody, or I might say, okay, this is my carb load for the day or something.
So I never thought about it. I thought, this is so cool, because I always thought about it like you have to eliminate the carbs when in fact it's like. Yes, and
add the fat. Right, limit the carbs and add the fat.
The ratio.
The way you can,
Yeah, you're gonna get the ratio.
Yeah,
right.
exactly. So you could just, if you have on your new menu just a K for, paleo, keto, whatever.
That's
keto option. Like make it so you can have the person make it keto, and then you just know you add a little side dish of the avocado oil, or a dish of a couple slabs of butter, or whatever they want.
Right. Oh, that is interesting.
Or remove the sauce, the sugar sauce, or whatever.
How cool is that? Yeah, the AIP has been a whole other challenge. About that, we're going to talk about AIP, guys, next week. We have a Facebook Live about AIP, and that's a whole other animal.
Yep, it is. That's a challenging one.
It's a challenging one. And I got I'm not going to name names, but keto cookbooks are really good, I think. You can find tasty things, but when it comes to AIP recipes, not tasty. Oh my goodness, I've been looking and trying, and I love all the red seasoning, and
But you know what? There's a lot of stuff that is just regular old your eggs and your Brussels sprouts. That's AIP. If you take out if you don't have the cashews, just the eggs and the vegetable.
Right.
And slather anything in butter or bacon.
See, the part of me that wants to impress people with great flavors at this restaurant goes it's difficult, but I'm not giving up. I want to make it tasty and AIP.
Yeah.
It's definitely a challenge, though. I'm not gonna lie, because I like all the red seasoning, all the nightshade dusting, and they can't have it.
You should check with Angela. Do you know Angela? I don't know if you remember her from.
Yeah.
She's a local chef.
Yeah.
She might have some tips or something.
Yeah, that
might be
interesting. And I bought some AIP cookbooks, but I'm like, this doesn't look, nothing like your standard paleo. It's very evolved at this point. Remember when I first started, the recipes were kind of crappy, but now it's evolved where it's so much delicious stuff out there. And
yeah, there's really good stuff, and you can always just dip some bacon in chocolate.
Dark
chocolate.
What's the percentage?
85%. I really like it. I like a 91% Guitard or Fair Trade brands. So they have very low sugar, but you get the benefits of the cocoa fat, and there's magnesium and some good things to dark chocolate.
Yeah. What about Enjoy Life chocolate chips?
I don't know them. I don't tend to other than the occasional dark chocolate treat. I just love
super dark chocolate.
I don't need a lot of the sweet stuff, so I add much of the sweeteners. If I make a smoothie, I use a half a banana. That's my carb load for the day, because that's a ton of carbs for me.
I think for a lot of people, I've had this girl, and she hadn't had a dessert in 8 years, and she comes to a restaurant, and it's for her, it's for people like that. For them, it's such a big deal.
Yeah, it's a nice treat. Well, I had my birthday here, and we split some of those lava cakes, that's super high carb and sugar for me.
talking.
And yeah, we just split it. Had a couple spoonfuls each, and and then I go back into ketosis. That's the metabolic flexibility. You have the ability to come in and out of it. And
do you know how long it takes you to get back to ketosis?
Yeah, no, I haven't really tested that. Usually, well, like for me, this whole trip, I would imagine there were some times over this week that I was in and out, and I was home and I was still in it. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, lots of information. I'm actually going to be doing a presentation June 7th at Boulder Healing Hub on the ketogenic diet and answering your questions. And we're going to have a panel including Eric Hislop, who actually did a presentation here way back in the beginning on ketogenic diet. He's an athlete.
Oh, Eric.
So keto athlete, yep. So, Eric's going to be there, and Barry Erdman, who's a therapist who's also been studying the ketogenic diet for the last 10 years, and he's a vegetarian.
How do I know him?
He's a vegetarian.
Oh, that's right. I know him.
So they're going to both be there to answer questions. The three of us will answer questions after I do a basic presentation on the ketogenic diet, and that's June 7th at 6:30 p.m.
Okay, June 7th.
And I can post a link to that in the comments too.
June 7th at
Boulder Healing Hub.
Boulder Healing Hub, 6:30 p.m.
6:30 p.m. followed by question and answer panel.
Yeah, do they have to buy tickets or is this?
Yep, it's an event and they're free. The Eventbrite
They're free.
tickets, but you have to register for the Eventbrite ticket because there's limited seats.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if I should go. We could sponsor it or something.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring some
keto snacks.
I was thinking Brussels sprouts.
An example. Now a keto fat bomb. That's what I want to see on your dessert menu. Some good fat bombs.
Fat bombs. We made this grass-fed gelatin. Hannah made them. She's one of our servers. She's such an experimenter. She made this grass-fed gelatin panna cotta made of the green tea. What's it called?
Maca?
Matcha, yeah, matcha green tea. Macha. I thought it was matcha. I call it matcha, whatever.
So I'm mixing it up with maca powder, which is
And we're trying to make it, so it's AIP, we're trying to make it keto with, maybe with stevia or something, but yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, fat bombs.
Fat bombs. Okay, great. All right, so next week, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're wonderful. Oh. You're amazing.
Thank you for this restaurant. I'm so grateful to have it.
I'm grateful to have you here. You're amazing. And now, for you guys, next week we are talking AIP is what we're talking. Very, very exciting. AIP, and then after that, we are talking some other really interesting, microbiome.
Ah, very cool. That's a big one.
Microbiome, yes. I don't really understand it. I don't know anything about it because it's too much nerdy stuff, but very, very exciting. Yes. So, yeah, microbiome.
Excellent.
And AIP. So, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to post this as a replay.
Bye, everyone.
And Mary Kay is going to post some links underneath to the event, to your office if they want to schedule a consultation.
Yeah.
You help people with this kind of stuff, right? You help them transition.
Absolutely. And I'm planning on offering later this summer a new group program for women wanting to transition to paleo or keto. So it's going to be an 8-week in-person, and we'll actually make a few restaurant trips as part of that. So we'll come to Blooming Beets for sure.
Oh, that's so cool. So then they can get to
We're going to do the whole lifestyle. You'll have in-person support, a community of other women, and we'll do the lifestyle piece as well, the meditation, the relaxation, the exercise, physical activity, and the nutritional piece all together.
Oh, that is so cool. I might join that even.
I'm excited for that.
I've been a little cheese and wine and let's just say not very keto lately, but yeah.
Yeah, okay, and that's normal. People go in and out of it, and that's our culture. So.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
All right, thank you guys for watching. Catherine and Jeff, thank you so much for saying hi. And Catherine, looking forward to seeing you here too. She has Keto Mojo.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Keto Mojo.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay, I will see you guys next week.